In this video, we're going to look at how you set up the foundation boundary in VisualFoundation. When you first start VisualFoundation, you'll see a startup screen that looks similar to what you see here. You have the option of selecting recent projects over here on the left, and you can also select template projects from this list on this side. If you notice, the template projects have the option to create a blank project, a rectangular project, a circular project, or a polygon project. Let's go ahead and start out with a rectangular project. So we click on that, and VisualFoundation then will show up with a rectangular shape. By default, the foundation is 60 inches by 60 inches. In order to modify what you have, you may select it, and then in the inspector on the right, we have the option to change its height and width, so we can make it shorter. We can move its center if we'd like. Another way to modify this shape is to drag one of the column lines. And you'll notice if I drag a column line, the whole shape moves. Now it's important to understand the behavior of these predefined shapes in VisualFoundation versus drawing a user-drawn shape. If we go to the Foundation tab, we have the ability to draw a slab or hole, a circular, rectangular, a polygon shape. These last three behave such that they maintain their overall shape. You can't stretch them in this case without clicking on them and changing their properties in the inspector. Let's take a look at drawing and adding on to this shape. So I select Draw, Slab/Hole, and now I simply drag my mouse. And as I do that, a line will appear indicating a side. When I'm done with drawing the side, I click my mouse, and I can now drag again, and you'll see as I'm dragging and clicking, I'm creating a shape. To close it off, I simply click on the point I started. So now I have a rectangular shape, but it behaves differently. I'm going to press my escape key to make the drawing cursor go away. And now let's look at dragging the boundary here. In this case, notice how the boundary stretches. And when I select it, I don't have the ability to change its height or width because in reality, this is not a predefined shape, but rather a user-drawn shape. I can also click on a vertex of one of these shapes, and if I change its coordinate, I can actually change it from being a rectangle. So let's go ahead and change the Y coordinate and drop it down, and now you see I have a non-rectangular shape. In addition, I can click on a vertex of one of these shapes and press the delete key, and now you see we have a triangle. Let's look at a couple other things we can do with the boundary. If I select two vertices of any shape, and it can be one of these predefined shapes, use my right mouse button, I have the ability to insert a vertex. When I do that now, I've created a shape with 5 vertices instead of 4, and you'll notice when I click on it, it's now a user-drawn shape. So I switched it from being a predefined rectangle to user-drawn. That vertex can be moved just like any vertex now, and let's drop it down as well. And now I have changed that boundary. So that's a way to modify shapes by adding vertices. Let's look at dropping in, say, a circular slab inside an existing shape. So I'm going to change my cursor to draw a circle and drag my mouse. And when I do that, I get a circle shown. Now the circle, when I look at it selected now and look in the inspector, I see that it is not a hole. I'm going to hit the escape key again, and when I click off of it, you'll see it's showing, but it's a slightly different color than the surrounding boundary. What this allows you to do then is to change its thickness and see create a thickened or thinner section in this range. You can also change it to a hole by clicking on hole in the inspector, and when I do that now, we see the shape is a shape with a hole in the center. So by drawing inside an existing shape, I can create holes or thickened shapes. So that's a quick demonstration of manipulating and working with foundation boundaries.